A Quiet Place Day 1 has achieved lukewarm reviews, mainly for not living up to its namesake and falling back on having a cute cat to save the lack of horror. Whilst I do agree that this is definitely not A Quiet Place 3, Day 1 is still worth watching for the way its heartfelt story inspires questions about what it means to be human and to be alive. But before I get further into it, please consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel and switching on notifications, as it really helps us out. Day 1 might be in the same sci-fi world as the films preceding it, but it in no way delivers the same horror or suspense. I think having the text that gives the decibel level of New York City at the start of the film leads the audience astray, as the city goes quiet suspiciously quickly and we're immediately led away from this idea. Focusing on that idea and telling the story from a city-forward perspective would have led to an entirely different film that I would have been curious to see. In any case, the audience likely going to see this film have already watched the previous two films, and therefore they are walking in already knowing everything. What the aliens look like and how to handle them, what to do and what not to do in this sci-fi world. This means that when you see a random woman yelling for Jonathan in the middle of the street, her demise becomes almost comical. I found myself scoffing at her before considering that this is Day 1 after all, yet I can't quite understand her decision to scream, considering she'd probably already or just seen someone being taken out for doing the exact same thing. So yes, I can't deny that there are many eye-rolling moments in this where there are people who just aren't getting it. The fear gets to them and their evolutionary call for self-preservation fails them in their time of need. New York is of course densely populated, so it is not out of the realms of possibility to imagine that a huge amount of people would simply not survive. And a lot of apocalypse films never show the severity of the initial massacre that would probably happen in such a situation. It's sad, but unintentionally silly. Just like having a cat as a supporting character. Just like having a pig as a supporting character acting alongside Nicolas Cage in the film Pig, director Michael Sarnowski's previous feature, and one of the films I included in my top 10 films of 2021. As soon as I realized that these two films are from the same director, it all made sense. Sarnowski understands human nature, and it seems that this is specifically regarding introverts, or the types of people who prefer the company of animals to humans, and who appreciate a steady daily routine confined to a few select locations, which is especially obvious in Pig. These are the types of people that I feel will most connect with Day 1. However, I won't rule out the extroverts because of Lupita Nyong'o's character having a terminal illness, which changes things. Before Day 1, her character had already considered death, facing it on a daily basis, wondering how much life she has left. This means also deciding what moments of her life define her, what memories are most important, and what physical experiences that she'd like to have before passing away. These are very human questions, and I expect most people would like the opportunity to answer and come to terms with them before the end. In the first film, A Quiet Place, there was intrigue in discovering the rules of the apocalypse, in the challenges faced by the threat and the threatened, and also in discovering how the family has overcome these challenges. Then there's the loss that immediately makes us sympathize with them, followed by the pregnancy, which gives the story a ticking clock. Suspense? Nailed. Initially, Nyong'o Samira is dislikable with that scathing poem, but we soon learn that she has a cat. Rob in Pig is also off-putting to begin with, but he has a pig. The audience is tricked into liking these characters because they show a kindness to animals, be it that both of these animals are serving them as employees in some capacity. But the similarities don't end there. In order to get his pig back, Rob, who used to be a chef, cooks the same meal he had cooked the bad guy and his wife in the past. Remembering his client's meals gives the character a compelling, softer side. In a similar way, Joseph Quinn's character Eric fixates on making Samira's last wishes come true. He tries to enact moments of her past alongside the quiet ruins of of New York and goes out of his way to secure her last meal. In both, the connection between memory and food is utilized within the plot, even if in Day One's case it doesn't quite make sense for him to be putting himself in so much danger for such a trivial thing. Although not from the same world, Pig's basic premise is very reminiscent of John Wick with his dog, yet that is a neon-lit action crime thriller, whilst Pig is very much a drama with hints of crime. With Day One, its predecessors are horror-heavy, whilst it is a drama with hints of horror, be it relying on the sci-fi background to give it life. Now, I can't deny that I fell in love with Frodo the cat. The trick worked, I was in, and I suspended my disbelief that this cat wouldn't absolutely meow its head off within the first 10 minutes and get everyone killed. Because it's a service cat. It's a professional, a godlike entity that materializes in front of Eric, the panic attack-riddled Britishman, in his time of need, selecting him out of everyone to help Frodo's own human survive. One review on Letterboxd really made me giggle by describing Eric as just a second cat for Samira to take care of, and I will admit that his character development is a bit lackluster, especially with those panic attacks that are both a welcome addition for mental health representation, but also become old quite quickly. Sure, he could have survived, but if Jonathan Woman and that guy up on the rooftop with Henry can't pull themselves together, then I question how Eric got this far. I am quite ruthless with apocalypse stories though, but I will give him the benefit of the doubt when approaching this film from the drama rather than the horror perspective. On the other hand, I think Samira was well written and Lupita Nyong'o is fantastic in the role. She has incredibly expressive eyes and she knows it, but unlike some other actors, she doesn't rely on them to do all the work and is definitely giving us those thoughts behind the eyes. I especially enjoyed the little details of the story, like when she picks up the book outside the library and inhales its smell. I felt that moment deeply within my soul. I think Joseph Quinn did the best he could, but it's very hard to compete with a cute cat, especially when that cat decides to confusingly lead you into a pit of monsters. Did Frodo suddenly decide against having him save Samira? Like, was he jealous? Or was he just testing him to make sure he was the one in a very omniscient god cat kind of way? Are all cats that are stuck up trees really just testing humankind? So many questions. From a technical perspective, the sound design was uninspired when compared to the previous films, with the score featuring much more heavily and ruining the suspense that silence brings. Also, I felt that the cinematography wasn't anything special but tried to be at inappropriate moments. For example, why would Samira choose to walk directly through the crowd of people, putting herself in danger, rather than walking along the side of the group or on another road? Because it's cinematic. That's why. Overall, A Quiet Place Day One is a great standalone story set within a still compelling if too familiar sci-fi world to make it shocking. However, the very human drama at its core, which movingly explores the topics of life and death, make it a worthwhile watch, especially for those who enjoyed Sarnowski's previous work. Thank you for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe and switch on notifications so you don't miss future videos, and comment below with your thoughts on the film. For more film content, feel free to follow us on Letterboxd and TikTok, links in the description. Otherwise, this has been Tea Break Film Reviews. My name's Michelle and I hope you have a great day.